Hello, I'm Raziel, and we are going to look at the pre-orders for next week. I'll tell you what, I like making positive videos. I like talking about things I enjoy. I like talking about how to make a good rulebook and which ones make me pleased, or beginner boxes. I like talking about lore. I like talking about all this fun stuff. I like being excited and having a good time and talking about a hobby or hobbies that I enjoy. What I don't like is being negative. I don't like it. It just doesn't feel right to me, So when this pre-order of this week's dropped, honestly, I was absolutely gobsmacked because this is probably the most tone-deaf dropping of any announcement Games Workshop has ever been. This is basically, very much basically, how could they make it worse for themselves? This is everything that you've been waiting for finally coming out. And everything here is years old. Years old. Right. Let's start with the Vanguard Task Force. This set first came out as part of the Shadow Seer box in 2019. That's 4 years old. Maybe it's time for it to be re-released again. Except it's been released 4 times. This is the 4th time in 4 years this kit has come out. First it was in Shadow Spear. Fair enough, it was part of the Chaos. It's part of the box. We also got the Chaos side as well. Then it was a Start Collecting set. Again, the Chaos side of Shadow Spear got the Start Collecting as well. Come to that one in a minute, actually. And then it got added a tank for this Combat Patrol. Now that Combat Patrol's gone, we got the Task Force back. And I'll tell you what, I reckon this box will be around 75 quid. So those who got the Combat Patrol box with the tank, you got the best one of this ever. It was the best value Combat Patrol box. I know it's all Phobos, okay, and that's not a fan favourite. I think it looks pretty cool, to be honest with you. I always have done. I like the look of it. But I know it's not a fan favourite. So I know not many people actually went out their way to get that Combat Patrol box. But it was a damn good value Combat Patrol box. It's really good. But yeah, so basically, this is averaging now a brand new release every year. It's becoming the Skyrim of Warhammer 40k. And that's not on. Why are people tolerating that? That's not on. There are models which are 20 years old still in Games Workshop needing refreshing and new models. But no, let's release the same kit, the same box, the same spruce 4 times in 4 years. 4 times in 4 years. Right, talking of which, we got the Indomitus models. Now, the Indomitus models let's just double check this one, is 3 years old. Okay? And these could have been released on their own in the last 3 years. Okay? And that's it. But I don't understand. Why didn't these 2 get released? I know the Captain and were both available in the other boxes, but having these unavailable on their own in sprues for the last 3 years is kind of silly, to be honest with you. Or even their own version of them. These are good looking models, and don't get me wrong, but 3 years for them to finally come out on their own. Yeah, but I mean, they look good, and if you want to get them, you want to get them. Next is, honestly, you're going to have to be on the site when this drops. When the Massive Possession drops, be on the site. Because I'll be surprised if this one lasts. And given the propensity for DW not to refill stock, and the Lion still out of stock. This is how bad it is. The Lion is still out of stock. This isn't the special kit. This is a normal kit. He's still out of stock. Yeah, if you want the Lord of Possession, just be up at midnight and keep clicking refresh until you get it. If you want him, you kind of have to do it that way, because he's going for silly money on eBay right now. I'm not even joking, like 60, 70 quid I've seen. And it's just, and on sale prices, by the way, yeah, there's 65 for him on a sprue. I think the cheapest is like 30 quid at the moment. Yeah, so you're going to want to have it, want to be there when it drops to get that model. To get the master possession, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be up at midnight to get it. I'm really sorry, guys. Because he goes for silly money now, and I can't see that going up. He is going to go quickly, and like I said, Games Workshop's not a big fan of restocking. Seriously, relying... That's months old now. The months ago, that could have been restocked. Oh, but they're doing all this work. I don't care. It just shows poor organisation then. I've worked in factories where warehouses have changed, and I know what happens. Most teams get split into two, and everything gets moved that needs to go into one warehouse, goes there straight. It gets gradually. And the orders that are dedicated to those lines go to that warehouse. But there's very little issues when stopping it. It just shows poor organisational skills from Games Workshop, and that's it. Right, Kill Team Annual 2023. Yeah, okay. Season of Gallowdark. It's what it is. It's a good book. It's the expansion of Shadow Vault, Soul Shackle, and Gallowfall expansions. It's got all those rules in it, with a 10 for Kill Team, 45 missions. Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty cool, actually, because it's got all these extra models and extra teams in it. So it's a good addition onto Kill Team if that's your thing. Which goes on to the next bit, which is the Kill Team models. And that is the Falgor Ravagers. Honestly, I'd like to see these converted into Imperial Guard, because I think we need some Beastmen for Imperial Guard. Given that Beastmen aren't technically entirely Chaos for 40k, they're more mutants rather than chaotic deviations like in fantasy. So I would like to see these converted into some Guardsmen. They would look really cool as Guardsmen. And you've got the Dark Eldar, the Hand of Archon. Yeah, again, some nice cool models here. Nice, they really look good, and that's about it. I think these are really cool. I would be tempted to add these to a Yunari army or make a Dark Eldar army using these. I think they're pretty cool, actually. I do like that bird one. That was one of my favourites. He looks really cool. And the weapons look dope as well. I like the Eldar weapons. Always have done. I think they've got some of them fantastic. And talking of weapons, I love these Beastmen weapons. They're really brutal. And that they have a musician and everything. I thought it was a shield, but it's a musician. And of course, you've got the Leagues of Voltan. Again, some nice looking models. And not my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of the squats. So if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. I mean, they look good. They are pretty cool. And they will definitely add some variation into your army. And finally, Inquisitorial Agents. I love these guys. I do. I love Inquisitors. I love having things like this in my armies. Always have done. They add a nice narrative twist to them. And, they look good as well. They're exactly what you would need to, make your Imperial army a little bit different. And don't forget, the Inquisitors do, of course, overrule all commanders. Kills an upgrade, Gallowfall, which is all the pieces and bits, which you need to play Gallowfall. Cool. Pretty cool. Finally, it's on its own, so you don't need to buy the whole box. You just need to buy that. So, yeah, kind of cool. If you want that, if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. If it's not, it's not. It looks good. Not my thing. And again, we go to being tone deaf. It's like the Kill Team stuff's pretty cool, and it's exactly what Kill Team needs. You've got the new models, which are on their own, so you don't have to buy the big box anymore. You've got the annual. This is the stuff that people are asking for. Rather than the stuff that people have been begging for years, or, and that's it. And when it takes 4 years for one model to come out, only to have, right, here's the thing, the Master Possession was in the Shadow Spear box too. It was also in the Dark Collecting Chaos box as well, which, when it got divided into two Chaos Dark Collector boxes. And then, when that stopped, the Space Marine half was still available, and, brand new one as well. And then, nothing more. Nothing else came out about. Okay? And talking about is this Imperial Fist, Praetor, and Tartarus. The Imperial Fist did very little during the Siege of Horus Heresy. Their only big claim to fame is the Siege of Terror. The only win they have is the Siege of Terror. Okay, now the Siege of Cataphonia. But they had to add that because Imperial Fists are next to useless. I'm sorry, Imperial Fist fans, but they are. They are singly the worst legion, worst chapter of the entire Imperial Fist, of the entire lot. There's 1,000 chapters, and one of them, and people choose to be the worst. There's 999 better chapters. Ultramarines are better. I don't even know why they made Imperial Fist postable. Yeah, Siege of Terror pretty much. But yeah, honestly, don't like this model. I really don't. It's just one of those models which just should have been just a Predator, a Space Marine Predator for everyone, and not just Imperial Fist. And oddly enough, there's not a Lunar Wolf one Sons of Horus one next to it. I really like. I like Garrow and Loken. That's why I keep calling them Lunar Wolves. I really like Loken. Yeah, I don't like this model. I don't. Basically because it's Imperial Fist, and that's really it. I don't like Imperial Fist. I never have done. It's not my favourite, of my least favourite chapter. Oddly enough, though, I love the Crimson Fist, and I love the Black Templars, and I love the Soul Drinkers. I actually like, and the Relictors. I like Imperial Fist successors. They are like the worst Legion, but they have the best successors. Now, talking of waiting, here he is. Warhawk is coming out in paperback, and I am actually livid at this. This has annoyed me no end. I am really autistic, right? And I like my books to be all the same size. I don't like hardback books because I take my books out everywhere with me. I always have at least 2 books on the go. And no, this isn't like one textbook. This is 2 novels. I tend to have 2 novels on the go. One is either generic fiction, something, spy, Tom Clancy, something like that. And the other is always science fiction. So I'm always reading 2 books. And when it came to Siege of Terror, I wanted them, and the horror story books, I wanted them all the same size. So they look neat. They look good on the bookshelf too, okay? And finally, Warhawk is out. And why does this upset me? Warhawk came out last December. It came out on the 4th of December 2022. It is now August 2023. That's been 8 months. Oh, but it takes... And when people say, it takes time... Right, honestly, this is what is the problem with GW books. They release the hardback books all the time. Like, every time you get a release now, it's a hardback book. Hardback books are a pain in the bum to get in your pocket or in a bag, and not get horribly ruined. Paperback books are paperback. They're going to get read because they're going to get read. That's the point of a book, to be read. But also, we've got to consider, since this was released back in December, we've had the Echoes of Eternity book, we've had the Garrow book, which is really good, by the way. That's the only one I got in hardback because they don't come out in paperback. But I really wanted Garrow. I really wanted that book, so it was the only thing that annoys me is having that on my shelf. So it doesn't go on my shelf; it goes to somewhere else where I can see it, where books are the same size. Okay. And the End and Death, Volume 1. So since this has got released, we've had 2 other novels from the Siege of Terror book series, but not this paperback. Going by this, if you want a whole paperback series, you're probably going to end up waiting until 2024, like beyond Christmas. And I'm not joking. If it's taken 8 months to go from one to the other, it's just not funny. And it's been over a year for it since Mortis as well. Since the paperback version of Mortis. So it's really screwing around with my head, and the fact that is my personal part of it. But also, paperbacks are a lot cheaper than, hardbacks are a lot cheaper. It's 15, 20 quid for a hardback. You can tell me how many hardbacks I buy. I buy paperbacks all the time. I will only buy paperback books. It takes a lot for me to buy a hardback. Honestly, the only things I have in hardback on my bookshelves are the rule books. To be honest with you, apart from a couple of books I found in charity shops and bought them cheap. Because you've got to support your charity. You've got to support charity. So yeah, hardback books are more expensive. And actually, believe it or not, because I've published a couple of books, hardback books aren't that much more to cost-wise either. Here we go. Hardback of the End and Death, Volume 1 is £20, £20. So it's half the price. There you go. It's going to be half the price of the paperback version. The paperback version will be, we take the same books, End of Death, paperback, got £8, Siege of Terror books are £8 in paperback, and they're £20 in hardback. That's probably why there is such a large gap between them. They are, and that's just not right. Not only that, right? When most other companies publish a hardback, the paperback is usually a month or two behind. It's like very closely behind because they want people to read the books. Authors like people to read their books. They don't like it, they don't want their books to be left on shelves unread. But authors like reading books. I speak to a lot of authors, and that's what they tell me. They like their books being read. The best thing that I speak to a lot of comic book writers. I speak to a lot of novel writers, and they all say the best thing about writing their books is people reading them. So having these hardbacks. Look, Realm Slayer's gone already. Why am I not surprised? Having these books, just left there unread. Yes, I've got people read my books, and I think it's fantastic having people read your stuff. It's absolutely one of the best feelings in the world. So there's that bit. So yeah, it's taking 8 months for it to come out in paperback. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You've got the Devastation of the Imperial Palace interior map. Alright, apparently we don't know what the word interior means. I'm going to ignore that. That looks like yeah. Nope, don't like it. It's a map. It's got the white scars thing on it. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't like that. Maybe that's just because I don't understand the point of it. I think that's more or less to it. I mean, there's no real law-breaking stuff in that. And it does look like it's the entire outside of the Imperial Palace. Do we not know what interior means? Maybe I'm missing something. Devastation of the Imperial Palace interior. No, I don't get it. And finally, you got Law Masters for Warhammer Plus. I've just cancelled my Warhammer Plus, actually. My partner bought me a year's supply last November, and it's not going to be renewed. She bought it for me. What am I going to say? She was thinking of me. She's a great girl. So basically, it really is. Kill Team is good. It's fantastic. They've done right thought about what Kill Team wants and what's good for Kill Team. Everything else is literally, they don't care. It's old models being finally released. Not models that need, they're not even that old, to be honest with you. They're 4 years old, is like the oldest. And the fact is, what annoys me the most is that the Vanguard Task Force has been released 4 times. 4 frickin' times. And that's just not funny, really, is it? I mean, Skyrim's had... Joke about Skyrim getting a lot of releases. But I swear to God, by the time the end of 10th, we'll probably have this box actually competing with Skyrim on the amount of releases it's got. And unlike Skyrim, it doesn't actually get anything improved. It just gets the same thing over and over again at a higher price cost. The only difference being, like, the Combat Patrol box was good because you got the Impulsor with it, which, it added to the value. If this box is £85, I would never touch it. And I would seriously suggest you lot never touch it. But there you go. Sorry, this has gone on for a bit of a rant, but honestly, this pre-order next week is so horrendous. It's honestly one of the worst ones I've seen in a long time, and it just really just shows how tone deaf Games Workshop are. There needs to be new Eldar models. There are models, and I'm still using Finecast Rubin Hawks, Finecast Striking Scorpions, Finecast Warp Spiders, and Finecast Fire Dragons. The Viper Jet Bike, which I use, is over 20 years old. I think it's almost 25 years old now. Well, as close to it as possible. And those are not getting updated, but the Vanguard Task Force box gets repackaged and resold 4 times, and as a new box. But Master of Possession, which could have had a brand new release any time since Shadow Spear dropped, and it's been a massive ask by a lot of the Chaos. I see it a lot. When is it going to be dropped? But it hasn't been touched for the last 4 years until now. And I swear, if that doesn't go straight away, I'll be shocked. And of course, if it does go, GW aren't going to, restock it for months. like they do any time. Like if something goes out of stock, it stays out of stock for so long. It's just not funny. And I've worked in factories. I know how this stuff works. If something goes out of stock in the factory, it's usually, and there is orders to, or there's people who are still buying it, or it's a big seller. It is literally put on straight away. It's like, this is out of stock. When are you going to get new ones? We've got it out already. It's always like that. And I've worked in all sorts of factories. I've worked in chicken, car parts, baked goods, anything. I've worked in these factories, and I've worked in every area of a factory as well, not just on the line. I've worked from IT all the way to dispatch. I've worked in every aspect of the factory. Okay. Anyway, thank you for my ramble, and I'm really sorry about this. I do apologise. I hope to see you all again soon. I really do. And this week will be so much more cheerful because I get to talk about Wild West Exodus and the Sultanate. Ooh, that's so cool. Not only, well, okay, I'm technically going to be just talking about dystopian wars, but they do have a model for Wild West Exodus. Oh, Lost World Exodus. But yes, I'll get to talk about that, so I'm just going to be so happy and be butchering everything. All their names and everything else. Sultanate is such a cool set. Anyway, and so I'll be talking about them. And you can get onto Dystopian Wars, which I suggest, which is really good. Or Lost World, or Wild West Exodus, which are so fantastic games. And I honestly suggest you play it because it's cheaper than Warhammer 40k, and the community actually listens. I'm not joking, they're a great community and it's worth taking part in. And that is in Wayland Games, and they also make it. So you can also save money on Warhammer as well then. You can go there. There is also Forbidden Planet. Now here's something, I actually like Forbidden Planet. I go to them quite a bit. I actually go to the shop. I think they're a great shop, they're a great company. That's why I advertise them. There is my comic. I told you I like reading. I told you it's great. Just pick it up. It's fantastic. It's fun. It's a little bit silly if you like monsters and stuff like that. There is also my merchandise, cups, t-shirts, everything you can imagine. All under one roof. Well, one website. And there's out. All the art's done by me. Some digital, some by hand. But all personally done by me. And finally, Patreon. As I should always talk about that. Because, But as I always say, treat yourself to something nice first. It helps the channel either way. And I'd rather you treat yourself first. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think of this week's pre-orders? Well, next week's pre-orders, I should say. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye-bye.